All right. I hope everyone enjoyed this week is stupid. Man, I gotta say, doing them is really, really hard. It's a lot harder than you think. It's not that I need to find like the interesting news. That's part of it, but it's not the biggest part. It's not even the editing. That takes more than a day to edit this week is stupid. But no, that's not even it. I could do that. The problem is like reading those articles and realizing that they are real. Like realizing that that is actually happening in the world. And it's probably like some of them, they have consequences which can affect you. So that is that. Now, let's talk about sadness and despair. I had the I don't know, naivete, I suppose you can call it, yes, the naivete of watching the He-Man trailer. And I said, you know what? That looks good. That looks good. It's got good animation. It shows He-Man battling Skeletor. Right? I mean, maybe, just maybe they're trying something new. Because that's always a possibility, Like maybe the people in charge, they're just trying, okay, we tried with the woke shit. Like, we led with the woke shit for like 6 years. We're not selling. It's kind of difficult to get people to buy our products. They're not buying our toys. So let's just like for 1 second try, maybe the classical way of doing business can work. And I was thinking, come on, it's just like 5 episodes. Maybe they'll just do, like, how hard it is to do He-Man. It's such a simple way of doing it. It's like Skeletor does something bad, He-Man goes in to stop him, they fight each other, and that's it. End of the episode. But no. No. We can't have nice things. So, first of all, the retconning, yes? So, I talked about this, but like, this is my favorite. Apparently, Skeletor is the Elliot Rodgers of the He-Man universe. Like the reason Skeletor is doing bad things is because he's got an ugly face and no woman likes him. No woman likes Skeletor, and because of that, he has managed to sum up an army of underlings, master control of magic, and bring mischief upon the world. I'm not even going to go into the bait and switch. Like, even with the bait and switch, I was thinking, alright, maybe it's still a good show. I mean, okay, I'm not going to get He-Man, but fuck it, I'm not a He-Man fan. I didn't watch the originals, I was too young. So maybe we're going to get a good show. Maybe it's just like the story is going to be good. Yeah, who am I kidding? The main character is completely insufferable. Like, the way social justice activists know how to write strong women is to make them not care about any other person. Like, they are some of the most self-centered characters in fiction I have ever seen. And this is from someone who also reads comic books. Like, you'll notice women in comic books, in Marvel especially, all of them are very, very self-centered. The only time they care about other people is when they care about other women. In fact, this is actually what's happening here in this story. The evil woman, what is her name? Evelyn, right? Evelyn is the name of the evil sorceress. She teams up with this chick, right? Because women work together. They're on the same side. You'll notice this in Marvel Comics as well. Like they might be on the opposite forces, but they respect one another. Why? Because they're women. Human beings don't act like this. Like, in social interactions, human beings do not act like this. In fact, I have seen women have more competition among each other than men have competition among each other. But I know, like, this is just a cherry-picked anecdote, or how the left likes to say it, my lived experiences. So, spoilers, and I don't care. I'm going to spoil it. It's 5 episodes. It's like, well, you're not going to enjoy the story. Trust me. Just try. He-Man sacrifices himself to save this chica. And the first thing she does is she goes to He-Man's grieving parents. Alright, like they just found out that their son died. and she makes it about herself. She's like, oh, like you think you have it bad. You think you have it bad because you lost a son. I have it bad because my boyfriend hid his secret identity from me. She's not even like trying to figure out like why did he hide his secret identity. Like there's no introspect. No, like, and this is like a main theme throughout the whole thing. It's like, oh my god, like he died in order to save me and the planet. What a bastard. And then it's like the design. It's so uncanny, by the way. This is Tila, sorry, not Talia. This is Tila. This is Tila photoshopped without hair and makeup. Okay? I'm not even joking. Like, this is how an artist thought to redesign this character. A character that the fans loved. A character that sold toys. I just don't understand it. Like, why do you want to destroy your own IP? This is what I don't get. It's like, why do they do this on purpose? Like, if you know something sells, why are you doing the exact opposite of what people want? Let me see if I can show you the previous Tila. I got a picture of her. Okay. Just so you can understand how she used to look. This is how it looked in the previous one, right? Why do you do this? How many people? No, like let's talk about money. Let's talk about finances for a second, right? Because you're a business. Like, businesses should make money. How many toys of this do you think would sell versus how many toys of this? Like, leaving aside aesthetics and whatnot, like, if you want to sell merchandise, how many people do you think will buy this? And I noticed a thing in the West right now. If you put a man's face on a female character, it goes along with the body. You know, like if you put a man's face on Abby from The Last of Us 2, works perfect. Now, I'm not saying you can't have a character like this. Like, it's fine if you want to have a character like this. But why is it that every single show has these characters now? Why is it that every single woman get defeminized? Is it a fetish? Are they beating it off to this? I mean, why do you want to get control of an IP just to spite the fans? Like, you know, people are happy with a design and you just want to change it. Like, imagine if I were to get access to Steven Universe and I would just change Steven and I would give all the gems big tits. I'm pretty sure, like, the fans would not like that. Like, they would be upset. They would probably not watch it. So why would you do this? These artists really need to go to a gym or spend 5 minutes on fitness on Instagram. Well, if you watched my other channel, I actually discuss what one of these artists was saying, like the creator of Ratchet and Clank. He was talking about the Wombat, and apparently, like, one of them was an activist, and he went to the artist and demanded that the female character in Ratchet and Clank doesn't have tits and hips. And the reason is, like, he said boobs are harming people. Like, you should watch my video. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, this is a developer from a video game going online to say that boobs are harming people. Why? Because apparently, according to him, so this is not something that I'm saying. This is what they are saying. What the progressives are saying is the feminine form is harming transgender people. I don't know why. I just but literally this meme. Okay, let me show you this meme. This is Japan, right here. This is Japan. These are the Western game journalists. This is literally it. We're at this point now, and I'm thinking, like, okay, let's assume for a fact, because I have heard this again when people talked about The Last of Us. They were pointing out, like, why all the women don't have breasts in The Last of Us 2. Like, not a single one of them has anything above B size. And stay with Marvel. And they said it's like, well, because, like, some of the transgender people working here, like, they feel as if we get people to believe that women need to have breasts, like, it would make their life harder or something like that. And I think, motherfucker, You go outside, right? Like you're going to get out of your house one day and you're going to see other women on the street with big tits. What are you going to do then? I mean, like, this idea that you need to protect people from feeling bad about themselves through art is bullshit. It doesn't work. And not only that, it's also very interesting because the feminists, they're the ones that said we need to protect little girls by censoring art. So the feminists were the first ones, like Anita Sarkeesian, she would say that the women in art, they are being bombarded with irrealistic expectations, right? Because you get to see like only women that are fit, only women that are beautiful and perfect in every way. And those are the women that you see in every catalog and girls magazine. And little girls, they look at that and they realize they can never be that level of perfection. So it causes them to be depressed. It causes them to think that they're not normal or whatever, right? So we need to change the art. We need to show like the average woman on the box. So now you have like women magazines and fashion magazines like Victoria's Secret showing obese women, showing women of color, like showing women that have cellulitis, right? And all of this is done in order to show the little girls that are buying the Victoria's Secret magazines to tell them it's like, okay, you're fine the way you are. So did this work? I mean, I'm looking at Twitch, and I see women being more fake than they have ever been in human history. Not only some of them have cosmetic surgery, but they also add filter, they add a ton of makeup, they add clothing, and they do various wardrobe tricks in order to pump up their breasts or to use various lighting in order to make them look of a different skin color to be more appealing to their audience. So like this is what it's at. Like you have made almost every single, even Playboy magazine. Okay, Playboy magazine came up and said, we're not going to show beautiful ladies on the cover anymore. Because like they don't want to hurt, I guess, the little girls that would have their ego distraught when they see it's like these irrealistic depictions. You get comic books changing their art style. You get video games changing their art style. You get all of these things changing their art style just to create, like the impression that it's okay to be the way you are. And what do we see on Twitch? The exact opposite. And exactly the same people that whine and complain about, it's like, why do you care, V? Why do you not like the new Tila? They're the same people that would freak out if you called up a lady on Twitch. Man, it's worse than the Puritans. Like, at least the Puritans were consistent. At least the Puritans said, okay, these are our puritanical values. This is what you need to follow. With these people, it's fine if like a lady puts on some cosplay or does get surgery and then uses a filter for Twitch and then uses all of these things in order to look as beautiful as possible. They're fine with that. But if the same lady picks up a crayon and doodles something on a piece of paper, they freak out. Watch the 2002 reboot, and Skeletor used to be handsome. He threw acid at the king. The king blocked it with a shield and deflected back on his face. Yeah, it's also the fact that Skeletor, like, let me show you something, right? Like the idea that Skeletor is Elliot Rodgers because, you see, he's just ugly, right? Like, so Skeletor is ugly and no woman likes him. Yeah. This is another trope that the woke are doing. Like, they get an IP and then they don't care about the lore. Like, I understand if you want to retcon something, but like, it should be workable within the lore. Like, here you have, Skeletor and Evelyn. And here you have Skeletor and Evelyn again. I mean, Skeletor, despite the fact that he's got like the skull, he is still very well respected individual, right? He's quite wealthy, he's well connected. So yeah, I'm not surprised that Evelyn likes him despite the face. I guess kissing is out of the question, but not even that, like his body is fit. I mean, it's only the face that's a skeleton. Like the rest of his body is probably normal. And if his rest of the body would be a skeleton, then, well, he probably doesn't have a dick to like women and care about that trivial stuff anyway. But what's interesting is that even in the Kevin Smith world, Evelyn likes Skeletor, like it's part of her arc. She goes on the same Harley Quinn route, which is basically like, oh, I am such a powerful and an amazing woman. If only I didn't have a man to hold me down. Like she's actually implying that, yes, Skeletor was holding her down the whole time. Like she didn't need a man. If she was smart, she would have dumped Skeletor a long time ago. She would have probably conquered the world by herself. Because that's what progressive women do. I absolutely hate like progressives act like Puritans because they are not. They are very degenerate. Man, like I'll tell you something. Like even the Puritans were more open-minded than the progressives. Like J.K. Rowling, I know I keep giving her as an example, but you know, like she's 100% with almost every single progressive ideological framework. The only thing that she disagrees is that men can't have uteruses, and because of that, like she published last week the level of harassment that she gets. And I want to say that I have seen professional misogynists, you know, like the most misogynistic of the bunch. Like we have hate speech experts, like misogynist experts, were incapable of sending J.K. Rowling the same vile messages that she got from the progressive people. And why did they say that? Because she disagreed with one point. Like even the Puritans. Like if you're a puritanical person, right, I'm pretty sure that if another member of the congregation like believed 99.9% of the things, but there's like just one thing that he disagrees, he would probably not be ostracized from the community. What is the best game on Switch? I like Sonic a lot. I also played Mario. Mario Kart reminds me of a game when I was a kid. And it's really funny to play if you have someone else. So I played that with my fiance. I didn't really have that much time to play on Switch, but after the wedding, I'm definitely going to start playing some more. I tried Zelda, but I didn't really get into it. It's mostly because of the time constraint. I spend most of my days just going out and looking for dresses and looking for wedding suits and shit. But after that, I'll probably see what Ghosts and Goblins is something that I'm interested in. I want to play. I remember playing that when I was a kid. That it was a very difficult game. Oh, yo, Bayonetta. Bayonetta is my favorite game. Yes, Bayonetta is probably one of the best. I just love it. I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why I love Bayonetta, but it's so good. Because, like, if you were to describe to me, it's like, okay, so there's this game, and you go, and then the screen locks, and you have to defeat the monsters, and then you have to go to the next part. I would say that's boring, and I also don't really get the story, to be honest. It's not really that captivating for me. I mean, I don't know, maybe other people like it. Like, why did they make the angels look so ugly? It's okay, fine. I guess they're probably like realistic biblical angels. But other than that, no, it's a really good game. I love it. Especially when you play it on the big screen. So, Master Dravla, thank you for the donation. Kevin Smith said the quiet part out loud. Netflix doesn't care that everyone hates it. Did he actually say that? I just... How can you run a business like that? It's like Netflix doesn't care that everyone... But why, though? I mean, the Netflix CEO, you know, he came out one day and it was after, you know, he talks about how democracy is important and how BLM is awesome. You know, like he makes all these political statements. And then turns out that there was an interview with the guy that was critical of Saudi Arabia. And the Saudi Arabian king asked for that interview to be taken down. So Netflix complied. And obviously, like, this upset a lot of people in the US because they're saying, hey, you care about democracy, like you don't want people being oppressed. Why are you doing this? So the Netflix CEO goes on and says, well, you have to understand we're just a platform. Okay, so all of a sudden they're not a political company. They're not doing activism or they're not woke or they're just a platform. Like if you make a movie about Hitler, you can put it on Netflix. It's fine. You know, they're just a platform. They don't screen or they don't censor. They don't do anything like that. No, like if you have a good movie, they will just put it up there. But second, the thing that was really eye-opening is that they literally said the US is just 7% of the market. So even if half the people in the US would try to boycott Netflix, apparently they would only lose 3.5%, which is why they don't give a fuck. So I would believe them, but like at this point you just have to wonder, like, okay, if you don't care that people hate the new He-Man, why do you do it? Just do something else. Poor Nerdrotic has to watch Star Wars, Marvel Comics, MCU, now He-Man. Well, He-Man is actually easy to watch. But I'm telling you, yeah, it's painful. Like, I remember when I had to review Picard, and I just couldn't. I think I didn't even finish reviewing it. I stopped watching. Same with The Mist. I mean, there are some progressive shows that are just so awful. Man, I could not watch Supergirl. I mean, there are shows that I actually think they're unwatchable. Like, He-Man wasn't really unwatchable. I would say that He-Man is mediocre. It's a show that had a lot of potential. It could have become a cultural phenomenon, but they just chose not to do it. So, the first thing is, like, Tila is just uncanny. You know, like, I just can't think that a man like He-Man that's so buffed and, you know, like, the hero of the planet would fall in love with someone like Tila. I mean, the body doesn't fit. Her character is rotten. I just... So like, it breaks immersion. That's the main problem. It breaks immersion when I'm watching it. The second thing, besides like the main storyline, which is okay, you know, fine. I like that there are moments when He-Man and Tila works together, and that's something that I enjoyed. I mean, because usually when wokeists take control of an IP, like especially in comic books, they will just marginalize the main character. Like, for example, if you read the comic Conan the Barbarian, like what they did is they got like a social justice warrior lady to fight alongside Conan, and Conan is now just the sidekick. It's like everything that's being done is by the illness haircut lady. Like, she does everything. But they didn't do this here. Like when He-Man and Tila is on the street, they're both fighting together. So I kind of like that. But what I really liked about this, because besides the animation and the voice acting, which is spot on, except the voice acting for Tila, because like you see her masculine physique, her very domineering masculine physique, and she has like the prettiest girly voice ever. The story of Orko is actually really great. I mean, there's this scene where he gets with Evelyn on, I guess, in the underworld, in hell, and he lacks confidence in his abilities, and he says that everyone expected a lot of him. His parents called him Oracle, but he couldn't pronounce that, so he said Orko. And in the end, it ends up that he's a failure. Like, he can't cast magic properly. He's just, like, really bad at it. And the female character, like, for once, I see the female character, which is supposed to be the villain, Evelyn. She actually supports him and brings him up and says, it's like, look, you shouldn't care about what other people do. Like, you should only care about, you should trust in yourself and you should believe in yourself and blah, blah, blah. And she manages to raise this character up to the point where he can single-handedly fight against, I guess, a ripoff of Skeletor. So I like that. You know, I don't know if other people like it. I don't like what happens after the fight. I think that was kind of lame, but I liked it. So there are like a couple of great things which could have made this show amazing. It would have made it absolutely awesome. But they chose not to. Now, I don't know if He-Man died again at the end. I think that they're not going to kill him off. I mean, it would be weird if they did. At this point, I don't even know. But we'll see. Oh, and like, Skeletor was fucking cool. You know, like, I love the voice acting, because his voice acted by the Joker. Which again, it created immersion breaking moments because I'm listening to Mark Hamill do the voice acting and I'm thinking Joker and I see Skeletor and it's like so weird. But yeah, like every scene Skeletor was really great. The only problem is like there's very little of him. You get a little bit in the beginning and then you get a little bit in the end and that's it. I wanted more Skeletor. So yeah, I mean, if you remove Tila, unironically, if you remove Tila from the show would be 20% times better. I'm not kidding. Like there were just so many scenes that were really cool. Especially like the battle scenes, and I love the fact that you're exploring to see like what would happen if the magic is being robbed from the universe. And yeah, I mean all these other characters like you care about. I cared about Orko a lot. But it's because they're not pieces of shit. Even Evil Lynn had an interesting story arc. So there's that. Thank you, Rusta. Kevin Smith should apologize to Clownfish TV. When is the last time you see a social justice activist apologize for everything? You know that when they apologize, they get fired. That's the ritual. That's the protocol. Tila was saying I could have been He-Man and saved us. Progressives don't get that we can see they hate femininity and masculinity simultaneously. I wouldn't mind if like you already have She-Ra as a show where a woman is He-Man. I mean that's not the main issue. Okay? The main problem is that when they do these Mary Sues, and I don't know if Tila is actually a Mary Sue, because like she is several times she gets her ass whooped, but I don't like if you make He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, right? They're supposed to be as a team. Like you shouldn't have He-Man do everything, and that's the problem with progressive shows. Like you have Rey from Star Wars, and she's good at everything. Like in the previous Star Wars, especially in the first episode, Luke is more like the hero in Becoming, so the audience relates more to Luke because he doesn't really know anything about the universe. He's not good at fighting because he gets beaten up in a bar. The first thing, like he requires he requires a Jedi to come in and help him out. He's not good at piloting a ship because that's what Han Solo does, and even like even Obi-Wan doesn't pilot the ship, right? Like everyone has a role basically. C-3PO is the one that has the knowledge base. So like every single character within that setting has a role to fill, and together they make a team. That's what old shows were used to be. But when a progressive makes a show, they have like Rey, who knows how to pilot, she knows how to shoot, she knows how to fight with a lightsaber, she knows how to use the Force, she knows how to fight, she knows how to swim, she knows like everything. She can talk all languages, and that's the problem. That's why they're bad. It's not just because they just want the woman hero. It's like no, even if the main character would be a man and he's good at everything, it would still be a boring story. I think it was Turd Flinging Monkey who said that the woke don't have double standards. If a straight man finds it attractive, it's oppressive and remove it. If they think it's ugly, it's empowering, need more. No, like when it comes to men, like notice He-Man is still naked. Like He-Man still looks iconic. But yeah, I think it's what you're saying. Like if a straight man finds it attractive, remove it. Yeah, that's probably true. I watched the reboot of She-Ra and it was great, not woke. I watched the reboot of He-Man, it was a woke joke. She-Ra wasn't being disparaging towards the audience. Like She-Ra, it's got a lot of woke messages in it. Like that they're advertising it as we got like a feminist only writing team, like only women write it, and we get like queer writers and all of this. But the thing with She-Ra is that She-Ra is not a Mary Sue. Like she doesn't do everything by herself, and also She-Ra doesn't belittle the fans. Like it's not trying to mock the fans. It's not disparaging towards them. Right? And secondly, like She-Ra doesn't even look like a man. Although no, wait, she actually does look like Ben 10. Let me show you the. Let me see if I can find the meme. I found the meme. So the producer approaches Ben 10 and it's like, I finally got the part for you in a hot new show. Thank you, sir. It's been difficult finding work as an adult. This will be your new costume. Try it on. And like Ben 10 is like, what? Do you want this job or not? So he puts on, are you sure this isn't a girl costume? Shame because the animation is really good. Yeah, like the fight scenes are actually good. But to be honest, if you watch the trailer, the I Need a Hero, you probably get like most of the fight scenes anyway. Globalism, like with Netflix, is destroying nations and cultures. Every nation should have its own Netflix. Well, no, because Netflix is weird. Like if you watch German TV shows or if you watch South Korean movies and TV shows, I mean, the kingdom is back for another season. I mean, those are good, right? Those are great, and you can see some anime on Netflix. So it's like you really need to know what to choose. Shira went from Amazon goddess archetype to a 12-year-old boy. Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Do you know what Shira reminds me of when I'm seeing it? This is pretty much what I think when I see Shira. Right here, yeah. Progressives are just misanthropes that can't admit it to themselves. I mean, I don't even know. Like from what I gather from the developers that are coming out, they're basically saying that, okay, we got transgender people in the team, and they don't want to think that the stereotypical the stereotypical definition of a woman is the only type of women you can have. So they want to create more androgynous women to show to the people, like to educate people that those are women as well. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. It's like, well, if you're making a show, are you making it for money or to educate people? Because like you're not going to sell toys. Like people don't buy toys to get educated. When HK94 thinks you're a bit of a misanthrope, you done fucked it up. I'm still wondering though. It's like, is it just me? You know, like is it me that's being the only one complaining? Like, are we the minority? Like time and time again, I gotta think. You know, I guess there is this generation gap that always happens, right? Like when the kids don't see eye to eye with the parents anymore, like the parents will go, "Oh, back in my day," you know, that type of thing. And I'm thinking, like, you know, maybe the new generation is just different. Like, maybe the new generation likes this woke shit. But then I look at the toys not getting sold. Then I looked at people not watching it and downvoting and downrating. And it's like, yeah, I don't think it's just me. And then I go and play old games like Baldur's Gate. I watch old TV shows. I watch old movies. And I'm like, yeah, man. And it's not me getting old. It's that things are just getting shit. Oh yeah, I know about the Diablo 2 Amazon face. Why not make Tila trans? That's my question. Like, if they would have made Tila trans, I would have get it. You know, like have some sort of magic that makes her into a man, or maybe like she just like has enough with being a lady, and it would have been less uncanny than being. It's like, all right, well, this is Tila, the same one that I used to watch when I was a kid. Yeah, tactical droid, but how many people are like you? That's my question. Like, do your colleagues also hate this? That's the question. Do the other people around you also dislike this? Netflix is jumping into low effort mobile games now, and I can't wait to see them fail. I don't know, like mobile games is where it's at. Honestly, I think mobile games destroyed gaming. Because if you remember, like when we were kids, there were usually like 6 or 7 games that would come up every month. Like every month you'd have some new games. Nowadays you don't, and the reason for this is that if you make a mobile game, you can make more money than you can make with a AAA game. So they're low effort, they're very easy to make, and you can make a lot of money from it. And yeah, mobile gaming is actually better than actual consoles or PC gaming. Well, like I know what you guys think, because obviously, you're watching my channel, so you're a little bit more right wing, I assume. But I'm curious, like in the overall generation, like the Gen Zers, like what do they think about this? Because I go on TikTok, and apparently this is very popular with Gen Zs, and my God, like I have seen some cancer. Let me tell you this, since I can. Now the thing with TikTok, like maybe it's cancerous because the same like YouTube, maybe the search algorithm is being manipulated. Like it's more of a pitch engine. It shows you what the I guess like the people at the company want you to see rather than what's popular, and maybe they're shilling the cancer. I don't know, but it's just weird. There are Russian bots in the chat. Yeah, do you guys have phones? Well, I spoke with a Blizzard developer, and I said this before. I asked him, it's like, hey, why don't you make a StarCraft shooter? I mean, wouldn't that be cool? And he tells me, it's like, yeah, we could make a StarCraft shooter. You're right, it would be cool. Or we could just make a StarCraft themed pinball game, and we can sell it in China, and we can make more money. So it's kind of difficult to argue with him when he puts it like that. It's like, well, one is high effort, and like the thing he also explains, like if we make a StarCraft shooter and we botched it, like let's say we make a bad StarCraft shooter, well, what's end up happening is that it's going to ruin the IP. Like people are going to be salty, and it can affect our reputation as a company. But how can you fuck a StarCraft themed pinball? Right? Like if it's StarCraft themed and it sells, they're going to make more money. So yeah. Speaking of things sucking, have you noticed the RTS genre is basically dead? Top played games are 10-year-old at this point. So, regarding the RTS genre, Company of Heroes 3 looks promising. Okay, got my hopes up, Tactical Droid. I got my hopes up. But then you also have... You know what? I'm actually going to look at the woke of Company of Heroes. Just catching up by appreciation for your work with some super chats, especially the videos where you provide insight on living under socialism. Thank you, Dick. I'll try to make more of them. So let me show you the wokeness. Like you get to see it nowadays, and it's so bad. Like I don't understand. Like if you want to go woke, why make it bad? Why can't you do good woke? Right? Let me show you. Let me explain to you. Let's just get past the commercial, and then I'll show you in a bit. Okay. So this is the Company of Heroes 3, right? And it's got the first trailer, and it starts off quite strong. I gotta say, I really liked it. The graphics are great. You get to see a lot of cool stuff. German occupied Italy, right? Like the people are sneaking in. Hey, like, and it shows that the invasion is coming. Right, it shows some paratroopers dropping in. Right, so up till now it's good. I love this as well, right? Like this is how you can do a woman in a war setting. Give me a second. Let me amp up the display so you guys can see better. And I know there's no sound, by the way. You don't need the sound. Okay, so this is like the strong, empowered woman. She's obviously like some sort of partisan, a spy, right? Like, they existed, and they helped the invasion a lot. They would map out the streets. They would map out the patrol of the officers. And she's telling them to go back inside, right? Like, danger is coming. So I love this. Like this is the exact way you can do good woke. Like this is perfect. It's a historical World War game, and this is how you can put a female in the world. Right, graphics are gorgeous. All right, and you have like the commandos, I guess, like, or whatever they're called. I don't know if they're commandos. Probably not commandos. But still, like they're infiltrating, right? Like they're trying to go in stealth. Right. So she's distracting the German soldiers. Yeah, and as the soldiers are distracted, the allies they storm in. Okay, she's sitting back. And then the allies attack. Alright. Why the living fuck is she picking up a gun? What the fuck is wrong with you, woman? Why would you do that? Like, up till now, you get the element of surprise. Like, no one knows who you are. No one. Why are you becoming a target? Why? Just so you can pose? Why is she doing that? And by the way, why were the people sneaking and then the tanks roll in? It's like when the wokeness starts, the mind switches off. Like, up till this point, this was a good trailer. I enjoyed it. Like, it made some narrative sense. It wasn't bad. It was very interesting. And now the mind stops working, and we're going to see, I suppose, the plastic trailer where it's all with explosions and people fighting, and it doesn't need to make sense. And yeah, I guess, like, it doesn't need to make sense, but like, why though? Like, this was good. It made sense. Not only do you have the explosion and the cool shit, but it also makes sense. It's a lot more enjoyable than this. And look at this, like, the tanks are rolling in. Apparently, like, she's not even in formation. She doesn't even wear a uniform. Like, you're breaking all sorts of war conventions. Like, if she is captured right now, the enemy can do literally anything they want. Because she's not an enemy combatant. Alright, whatever. She's not even part of a unit. She's literally there. Like, why does she need to fight? Like, she doesn't need to. The soldiers are here. They have tanks. Alright, so, okay. Now they're engaging each other. And this part is cool. I love the way they're using the tanks as cover. The mechanized infantry. By the way, do you know why the Germans lost? I'm telling you why the Germans lost. Because they didn't have strong, independent women on their side. Yeah, so this part is fine, but like, let me show you something else, right? I think it's after the explosion that's, yeah. Okay, so the explosion is happening. And then we're going to get the woman teleporting in. Where is it? This is where the woman is teleporting in. So, the airplanes are coming. Everything is exploding. Right? And she teleports in to help a soldier up. Who the fuck does this? What is wrong with you, retard? Don't you have a family at home? Why do you want to die? Why are you on the front line? Alone? I would understand if she was like with a group of partisans and they were throwing Molotov cocktails and shit. Yeah, I would get that. But why are you like, you literally just picked up a weapon to show you're an enemy combatant, and now you're prancing around like it's a fucking field of daisies, like what is fun or some shit. I don't want to see that what is fun. What is not fun? What is scary? People don't want to be there. People are forced to be there. Well, you know what? Congratulations, Joe Biden passed the draft for women, so now I guess like women can use her as a role model. Prancing around the field of daisies. Like if writers want to create good, strong, independent women characters, they should take example of Death Proof by Tarantino. No, like they should watch Disney, man. Like watch all Disney movies. Like they had really good female characters in Disney. Like Mulan. Mulan was fucking awesome, but they ruined it because they can't just make Mulan anymore. That's how woke Disney is. Pocahontas. Pocahontas was fucking awesome. I don't think they would be able to recreate her, but she was awesome at the time. Oh, yeah. Like, the only thing missing is to make her pregnant. Trailers have nothing to do with the gameplay anyway. Yeah, sure, but you can have an enjoyable trailer and you can have a bad trailer. Like to me, the trailer is the selling point. If you're unable to create a coherent story within 2 minutes of game, I don't think, like, your campaign is going to be that good. I mean, do you remember the trailer for the first and the second Company of Heroes? Like, those are great. You know? The story in Company of Heroes 2 is spot on. It's just absolutely amazing. But if you show me a 2-minute trailer where the story makes absolutely no narrative sense and it's just like really dumb, then I'm going to have low expectations in your game. Oh, here's another good story. Iron Harvest. Like, Iron Harvest had a strong female character, a Polish lady. And it was cool. Like, she doesn't like fighting. She doesn't like being in the war. War is horrible. Like, she lost her brother to the war, and it's a really good story. This is not it, Chief. If anyone wants to see if civilians join forces, they should look into the history of... There are times when civilians might join forces with, like the army. Like, let's say... I don't know, like a city is under siege, and then the Liberation Army comes, and the citizens, like, they get Molotov cocktails and stuff. Okay, fine. Like, that is possible. But it's not just one civilian running around by himself. Now, is it? Either, like, they create a distraction and then they run away so the enemy can move in. Or it's maybe like a group of partisans or something. That was just dumb. It's like, oh yeah, she's going to pick up the rifle. Like, even if I was a civilian, I wouldn't pick up a rifle. Why the fuck would you do that? Like, they're already the army. Like, they already have everything covered. Yeah, the Warsaw Uprising. But even there, like, what I'm saying is, like, if you want to show civilians fighting, then either you have them in a group, like, trying to... But I mean, what a civilian could do is, like, throw a Molotov and run away, right? Like, you want to distract the enemy. Like, you're not going to have a group of civilians fight against a heavily defended position of the enemy. You're not going to do that. Yeah, civilian Rambo isn't happening. Unless they no longer exempt pregnancies in the draft, women won't serve. Heard so many stories of military women get pregnant just before deployment. That is a good take. Yeah, I mean... I never thought about that. Like, a woman can't do that, right? Because I mean, if you don't glorify war and you take it for what it is, despite what Tactical Droids keep telling me there, I'm not reading books. Shut the fuck up. Like, if you don't glorify war is horrible. Like, most people don't want to go there, and there are cases of men shooting themselves in the foot just so they don't get drafted. But you're telling me that, yeah, like, if a woman gets drafted, like, yeah, what's to stop her from getting pregnant? Hell, if I was a woman, I'd get pregnant just not to get drafted. Disney females are awful. Ariel almost sacrificed her father's kingdom to chase her loved one. Belle was going to study until her womb was bad. Jasmine has a princess and still wanted to chase the bad boy. No, I don't think so. I mean, their personality isn't bad, man. Like, usually... Okay, these aren't Disney stories. All of these stories, including Aladdin and all the others, they're stories that existed in books previously. Like, The Little Mermaid actually was a story from a book. Although, I'll give you this. In the book, it doesn't have a happy ending. Like, in the books, the mermaid dies. Like, because the moral in the book, I suppose, is to listen to your parents, right? Like the mermaid in the books, like she also sees the prince and uses a witch to get on water and to walk on land. And as she starts walking on land, like she feels her legs hurting her. It's almost is described in the book like it's almost feeling knives, hot knives sticking into her legs. Like it's very difficult for her to walk properly. And she finds out that the prince doesn't love her. The prince falls in love with another woman and abandons her, and she ends up dying. So, like that's something that's very dark, and obviously, like Walt Disney didn't have that ending to it. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that Ariel is not like Tila. Like she's not a vile person in the. I mean, she's an innocent teenager that is, I suppose, like trying to explore the world and is a little bit misguided. But I wouldn't call Ariel an evil character. I wouldn't call Belle an evil character. Like Belle is an oddball. That's true. She. I suppose, like, yeah, she's intelligent and she likes reading books and stuff. And she doesn't fit in. Like, she's the outlier. I don't mind that, to be honest. I mean, it's a story. I don't think kids are that cerebral at that age and they like to think so much. In the book, the mermaid eats people. It's just she didn't want to eat this particular prince. I didn't know that. I'll have to read it again. In the book, the mermaid dies to save the prince and gets a soul. Mermaids don't have them normally. Well, I guess then there's many stories that about this, because I heard a different take. The moral of the story is that the mermaid is that the love was not worthy. She effectively tried to pursue a fetish, but she did redeem herself at the end. Yeah, I mean, I suppose like maybe the moral in the mermaid is also for the father. Because, like, the father tried to completely cut off the daughter from the outside world. Like, didn't allow her to explore it. Because of that, she rebelled. Had the father... Like, yeah, if you look at the mermaid story as more of a lesson to the father, it makes more sense. Like, Neptune was wrong because he didn't allow, like, any interaction between the mermaid and the outside world. And because of that, she had to discover it herself. And it would have been better if, like, Neptune would have shown her how the surface world is. And he would have done a really good job, I guess. Like, he could have put it in a way so that she doesn't like it. Like, he could show, oh, look how men eat fish. Look how men pollute the water. Look how this and that. And if he had done this, I think that she would have been less likely to go to Ursula for help. It's a boring t-shirt. I'm not showing it. Yeah, mermaids eating humans is not cannibalism, it's just half cannibalism, I guess. No, but still, like, what I'm saying is that the princesses in Disney movies are a lot more interesting than whatever the woke are creating now. The father kept her away from the outside world for this exact bloody reason. Yeah, but the father, by keeping her away, didn't understand that teenagers rebel. Every single teenage rebels. Like, this is something that happens throughout human history in all cultures. And if you're going to just interdict the teenager from doing something, then they might do it out of spite. So the correct way is not to interdict them, but the correct way is to show it to the kid in a controlled environment. So you need... like, this is why parenting is very difficult. Because it's very easy to tell the kid, no, you're not allowed. Alright, but the kid will do it anyway. I mean, all of you guys probably did something that your parents wouldn't let you. So, the parent is the one that is supposed to show the child what he's curious of. But also, like for example, I wanted to smoke when I was a kid. And I asked my mom for a cigarette. And my mom actually gave me one. Like, she gave me a cigarette and she told me, yeah, but like, inhale really hard. Like, pull really hard in your lungs. And I felt like dying, I felt like I'm never going to survive that day. But what turns out is, like, I never wanted to smoke again. I'm not curious about smoking. I'm not even interested. Like, I genuinely don't want to smoke. And I think, like, if my mom didn't do that, and she would have just done, no, you can't have a cigarette, then what would have probably happened is that eventually in high school, I would have smoked. Because I had a lot of kids that tried to pressure me. There was even this girl I liked that she wanted to give me a smoke. But because I knew how bad it was, I never had the curiosity of trying. So I guess like that's good parenting. You know, even though it's counterintuitive, like it doesn't really make sense. Like, oh my God, you gave, you know, a kid a smoke or whatever. All teenagers rebel, that's a lie. No, man, it's not a lie. I mean, I rebelled, my friends rebelled. I know a lot of people who rebel. Okay, maybe not all, hashtag not all, but the overwhelming majority of teenagers rebel. And you also get that generation gap, you know. The only way you I guess you can't rebel is if your parents literally set no boundaries for you. Because then there's nothing to rebel. Like if you live a life where the parents just give you a crack pipe and an Xbox and that's your parenting, then yeah, I guess, you know, like there's nothing to rebel against. Healthy childhood trauma, yeah. I never smoked, I never drank, I never took drugs. I'm pretty sure you did something. Like, man, like, the thing is, like, every time you start moral grandstanding, I call you out because it's things that I know you did on the chat. I don't know your childhood, but I'm willing to bet that if I pick up the phone and talk with your grandma, she's going to tell me exactly what she did. Or maybe she's going to tell me, it's like, yeah, well, I never set rules for him. But, you know, I'm pretty sure your grandma told you to spend less time at the computer, and you didn't fucking listen. You know, just because you don't smoke and you don't drink alcohol, like, congratulations. That's not the only thing about rebelling. I am willing to bet you spent more time at the computer. You spent more time playing video games than your parents allowed. I am willing to put money on this. I will fucking sell my house and put money on the fact that Tactical Droid spent more time on the fucking computer than his parents allowed. Maybe, you know, you had, or you didn't have rules. You know, maybe your parents didn't tell you like you're not allowed to spend much time at the computer. Maybe your parents didn't tell you that you're supposed to come in at 8 p.m. at night every time you go out. I don't know. Maybe you didn't have rules, and then, yeah, if you don't have rules, there's nothing to rebel. But, like, literally every single kid that I know rebelled. Like, there were rules in the house, and the kid did everything they could in order to break them. Okay, the computer part is true. I fucking know it, Tactical Droid. I fucking know. How do I know these things? Maybe you skipped at school as well. I'm willing to bet you skipped from school. Every kid does it. They probably whined as well that you don't have a girlfriend. You complain about women dying with the like Belle from Disney. You complain about her for having a battered womb. Where's your kid, Tactical Droid? Are you on the 6th kid yet? Why aren't you popping up babies? Huh? Women won't like you if you sit at the computer. Why aren't you at the gym working out? Becoming a good provider. Making money. Seducing ladies. Why don't you do that? Divina Duckworth, don't you want Tactical Droid? Huh? You never skipped school. My God, you must have been to one of those amazing schools. I don't know. I couldn't stand that shit. I skipped school like a motherfucker. Not only did I skip school, he never skipped school. Okay, well, I guess that you're like the kid from the legends. I heard legends about the kid that never skipped school. Now I know where he was. Like, not only did I skip school, I did forgery. I forged shit. Like, the catalog, we called it. I don't know how it's called in English. But, like, all the teachers, they had, like, this big book where they would put the notes, the grades from the kids, where they would grade you. And they would also, like, mark the day you were absent. So if you were absent, like, they would mark the date. And if you had a lot of absentees, you can get expelled. But if you had, like, a good reason for being absent, so for example, let's say you are late 5 minutes, or you got, like, a doctor's note, then they would make a circle around it. Every time a teacher would forget that book in my classroom, I would take it and I would start putting circles around it. And in order for the other kids not to whine and complain, I would put circles around their dates as well. Yeah, the report card was personal, but this was like the centralized one. Oh, you'll get your driving license before me? Perhaps. I'm not going to argue. Yeah, let me. All right, right. So this is exactly. I found it. Here you go. So this is what the teachers had, right? Like the teachers had this big book, and you have like, for example, English, math. Right? Let me see if I can zoom it in. Ah, perfect. So this is like the name. On the left, you have the name of the student, and on the top you have math, physics, chemistry, biology. And under each one, you get the grades. So let's say you get an 8 on chemistry. They would put an 8 here. And then you have absentees. So if you were absent, like you skipped school, they will write the 1st of October and 2021 or whatever, right? Now, if, for example, you had a reason to skip school, let's say you bring a doctor's note or the parents call in and they say, yeah, well, he was sick. Then then the teacher would put a circle around the date. And making a circle around the date means that it doesn't count. And if you had 40 of them, you were expelled from school. Like, it was a serious shit. Getting 40 wasn't that difficult. Because if you think about it, there's like seven hours in a day. So if you skip one day, you get 7. And if you skip like 10 days, you get 17. So if you skip school 10 days, then already you're out. So what you needed to do was to either speak with the principal and try to come to an understanding, like say you're really sorry. It's like, look, I blah, 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 I done goofed, and then the principal, you would call your parents, and after the talk, they would, just circle them. That was one way. Another way was to like forge a doctor's note or go to a doctor with like some coffee and some money and say, hey, look, I'm in trouble at school. I did this and blah, blah, blah. So that was another way. And the way I did it was that sometimes the teacher would forget this shit in the class. So I would open it and I would start circling a couple of mine. I wouldn't circle all of them because then it would be obvious. But if you circle like 2 or 3, like no one would know. And so that the other kids don't tell on me because I did this, I would circle their grades as well. Like I would circle there as well. So if they would complain, I'd be like, hold on a little bit. Like, he also had the complaint. So no one would say shit. Sometimes you could also, like, let's say you get a 3 on mathematics. You can make a 3 into an 8 or a 9. But you can, like I told them, it's like, okay, there's some teachers you shouldn't fuck with. Because I knew the teacher. It's like, okay, this teacher, like, he probably knows what grades you have by heart. So don't fuck with them. Like, if you add something, it's going to be something that he remembers. Now, you could have made, let's say, I don't know, a 5 into a 6 with those teachers. Like, hey, if you make a 5 into a 6, you're probably going to mindfuck him. Like, he's going to be like, really? Maybe, okay, like, they're not going to remember that. But if you make like a 1 into a 10, then obviously they're going to know, right? So I knew like the teacher that don't give a shit, like the teachers that aren't passionate, that would walk into the class and they would be like, children, And those were like the teachers, like, okay, you get a 3, make it into a 9. You get you get a 5, make it into a 6. I was doing forgery. I never got caught though, because I was smart. Never once got caught. It's only after these years that I'm coming up. You can bribe with coffee? Of course you can bribe with coffee. I'll see your sick note and raise you a GP. I don't know what GP is. You monster. I could never even dare think to touch the sacred catalog. See, I'm not a monster because the kids in the other class, they were the dumb ones. They set fire to that shit and threw it off the window. And when they set fire to that shit and threw it out the window, the police got involved. Apparently, like, it was like destruction of fuck was it? Destruction of public documents. Yeah. So like there is another level, is what I want to say. Like if you, the general practitioner, what I want to say is that there is a next level that things can be escalated. Okay, so if you want to do mischief, you need to do it properly. You don't do it like a dumbass, and that's the difference between me and other people. Like I knew how to actually do it properly. Like here's another way that I would mess with the teachers. The teachers, like, let's say you have a math teacher, and the math teacher would wanna see if the kids studied for that day, right? So what he would do is, like, he would go into the class and he would start calling out random names and then give them a math problem. And based on the math problem, they would give you a grade. Now, I didn't like studying. Like, I only studied when it was essential. But what I would do is, so the teacher would leave me alone, is that I would talk with the teacher during break. Like, I would find the teacher and I would, hey, how's it going? You know, and it's like, oh yeah, I got this math problem. I really didn't understand how it's like. And I would just have a conversation with him. So when he went into the class and started calling out names, he would always just like, oh, V, oh, I spoke with you. And then he would ask someone else, because in his mind, he would actually think that he already talked to me, because I talk with him in breaks. Like, he would think that I talk with him a lot. So he would, like, get the impression that he probably asked me to go to the blackboard a couple of hours ago. Like, it was a psychological thing. No, I wasn't a chess prodigy. I hated chess. Which teacher thinks that clever student would cheat? Well, I don't know. It depends if you cheat properly or not. Let me tell you something else that I did. Yeah, so one of the things that I did was to make money during school. I love making money. I had like various hustles. And one of the hustle that I had was to write the homework for other students. And I knew how to write very fast. And I was doing this with English. So I would write my English homework, and then I would tell the other students, like, look, if you want me to write your English homework, $1. And I would, like, either I would come to school earlier or I would do it during another class. And I would have like 5 notebooks on my bench, and I would write one sentence. I was like a Xerox machine. And one day, what ended up happening is that another kid starts doing the same, right? And he had a more beautiful handwriting than me. So because of that, he was actually making better homework, if you know what I mean, and everyone was going to him now. So I went to the school bully, and I told him, it's like, look, I'm going to give you $10. I want you to beat the living shit out of that kid. Make sure that he never writes homework again. If he wants to write homework he can do it for math, he can do it for French, he can do it for, I don't fucking care what he does it for. He's not doing that shit for English. So the school bully, goes up, roughs this kid up, tells him, it's like, but it was kind of funny because, like, he didn't tell him, it's like, look, V paid me to, no. He went there and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And like, other kids are working hard for their homework, and you're doing this, you're pulling this off. Like, I work hard for my homework. I struggle hard to do it. And you are here doing this shit. If I catch you doing this shit, not only will I whoop your ass, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell to the teacher and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean... what can I say? Well, hey, I had more money because I kept doing the homework for other kids, so I actually had money, unlike others. No, I was a very bad kid. Honestly, he didn't even beat him up, he just roughed him up a little, but it was funny. I'm just saying, I grabbed him by the collar and give him a shake. No, I was like a really, really bad kid. Very bad. Yeah. had to learn a lot from my own mistakes. Anyway, right. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys next episode. Take care.